2. Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. It is 2020, and heading into a new year, it's always nice to do a little Auld Lang Syne with some old friends. I feel like I need some eggnog and a little bit of time with my purple floodlights here on the studio as we welcome the Goose, Tony Siragusa, back on. Goose, it's a time where I'm trying to sort of reconvene and put the band back together for the entire Purple Army, man, because it doesn't get much better than this, dude. It really doesn't, right? I mean, the whole city's purple, man.
No, listen. It's awesome when everybody gets involved and playing the game and knowing that the fans and the people in Baltimore who are just diehard football people, blue collar, know what it's like to work, are just behind you, and you're not only playing for your teammates, but you're playing for them. I mean, there's no better feeling.
Well, Lamar, I mean, look, you stood on the sidelines here the last 10, 15 years, circling athletes, seeing the speed of the game. You're out in the middle of it. The game's changing and RPOs and all of that. But there were many, many naysayers to say this couldn't be done at this level to 14-2. That the Ravens would be a favorite to win the Super Bowl, that I'd be wearing purple floodlights right now. Where are you over the last 18 months, Goose, of watching this kid do something that most people said he couldn't do?
Well, listen, I think everybody was skeptical. When you have a good quarterback and that's been there for a while, and you're like, all right, we know what we have, but we have this young guy that we want to put in, and he's got some talent, but, can he go and get the team around him? And it's been amazing. And this season's been crazy. It was the Cleveland Browns were going to win the Super Bowl, week one. And, now they're home, and Baltimore's just been getting better and better. A lot of people, when I listen to the games and listen to the, all the geniuses out there that are on the radio and TV, and they say, well, he's a lot like Michael Vick. And I totally disagree. Michael Vick was a run quarterback, scramble quarterback first. And Lamar is sort of turned into, let me go and I want to throw first. And then if it's not there, then I can scramble, gain some time. And then if I have to run, that's his third option, where that's not how Michael Vick operated. It's very frustrating, watching a guy like Lamar. You sit there and you go, all right, well, how would I play him? What would I do? Do you keep him in the pocket? Well, if you keep him in the pocket, and you don't get the pressure on him, he's going to go and pick you apart. All right, do I force him one way or another? Usually quarterbacks that are scramblers will have an area that they're more comfortable in, whether they like going to the right or like going to the left. With this kid, you don't know which way you want to send him because it doesn't matter. He'll flick the ball. He'll move the ball. It's almost like he has a little bit of, Brett Favre in him, where he just gets the ball out to guys, in empty spaces. So, very frustrating as a defender, watching this guy, but loving him because he's on your team. And I was just very upset that, our defense didn't have a Lamar back there that could do all these different things. I think I'd still be playing, and we'd have more jewelry than Tom Brady.
Goose, is it more frustrating for a big guy like you in the middle to play 60 minutes and never kind of really get near him because of his speed versus a safety who thinks, well, I'm almost as fast as him, I can find him, and there's an angle. And then there's the point where he literally embarrasses people, right? It's schoolyard and flat-out embarrassment. But for a guy of your size and your position and what your role would be in clogging up the middle and trying to stop Ingram if he's running through with the ball, the one thing that Eric Weddle told me, and I keep bringing it up with guys like you that played the game for as long as you did, Weddle said, I practiced against it for a year, and I watched the film, and I got out on the field, and once the game started, I couldn't see the ball. I never knew where the ball was. And I think that's the part of it that, as Weddle said, I can watch all the film and I can even be out on the field practicing and know what they're going to do. But when I don't know where the ball's going, he has almost a magician's trick in that way.
Well, the thing is, if you're just a regular fan, and I try to break it down for you, there's angles. When a quarterback's behind the center, there's certain angles that defensive backs can play. They know where the flight of the ball is going to be. You know where the angle is. When you have a quarterback that goes and moves as much as he does, and he doesn't have to set his feet up. He has such a strong arm that he could just, while he's running, he could throw it. The angles are so much different, so that causes a lot of problems for a secondary and for cover guys. The thing that I think, if you're going to play against Lamar, what you have to do is you have to have your outside edge rushers be, very, how could I say it, very repetitive in, bringing the pressure, but not letting him go and cut up underneath you or over the top of you. And you need to go and have those inside guys bring the pressure in his face. You got to force him to move before he wants to, because if he sits in that pocket and gets comfortable, it's tough. It's tough to go and defend him. I mean, the angles that he creates is the reason why I think he's so good, and he just has such vision. His eyes are always downfield. He's not afraid to get hit. I mean, he's the guy you don't want to play against. I mean, he's got too many things. If you're a defense coordinator, there's nothing you can tell your defense and say, okay, this is what we need to do with him. You get a guy like Tom Brady, who's one of the greatest players to play the position. There's still things that you could do. If you hit Tom Brady or you force him out to his left, he's going to have problems. But you don't see that with this kid. I mean, he's so versatile and his movements are just, it's all right. He's stuck. Boom. He goes, he tucks the ball, he protects the ball. He does all the right things. There's not one thing that I could point out that says, oh, well, if he's this is going to give him a problem. He doesn't. He doesn't. The only thing that I would say is he needs to go and use that sideline a little more and stop thinking he's a fullback, when he runs sometimes, because, them hits after a while, you get enough hits, you become a little bit stupid and a little bit banged up like, some of your old friends are.
Well, Tony Siragusa is our old friend. He's joining us here. And, Goose, what you up to? I mean, tell everybody what you're doing and promote something, sell something. You're great at doing that. I mean, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm sure you're on a boat somewhere, right?
No. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready for the Super Bowl. Already called the commissioner and told him, hey, listen, I need a ticket. I got to get to this game down there. And so I'm counting on the Ravens going down there and me bringing my whole family and doing that, and we're going to have a little party down there. If you go on my Facebook page, we're going to have a little private party for a lot of the friends and players that from the 2000 Super Bowl. So we'll be down there having a good time. Hopefully, looking at the standings and stuff, Kansas City looks good. I mean, some of these teams, you have to take everybody serious and really go and come up with your best game and stay healthy. That's the one thing in the playoffs that the Ravens need to do, is just stay healthy, protect your quarterback, make smart decisions. The small mistakes will go and cost you if you go and don't take care of those things. So I think that John will have them ready, and I'm excited. I'm going to try and get down there to the playoff game in 2 weeks, which is nice to have a week off. I mean, that's like a year off for a player for them, and I'm going to try and get down to the game, and I'm going to ride the wave with everybody else. I'm excited. I mean, it's great to see the fans all fired up, and it'd be nice to get another trophy, and the franchise, and the Modells and the Bisciottis. I mean, they got to be stoked of how this franchise has come since it's been in Baltimore, and what we're able to do, and what the teams and players are able to do. And it's great seeing these young guys going out there and experiences the experience that we had, and putting Baltimore on the map. And everybody, used to overlook us and, don't worry about Baltimore and all the Steeler fans. But I see a lot of purple out there. It's great going to restaurants here in New Jersey where I'm at, and seeing little kids with their Ravens gear on, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I was at the Giants-Philly game last night with my son, checking those guys out. And, Philadelphia looks like they're going on a little bit of a tear on the NFC side. But, everybody's talking about the Ravens, everybody. And and that's great for the city.
Goose, I want to bring it back to the Ravens and your role in being here. I had Rob Woodson on a couple of weeks ago, guys that got sort of recruited into this when Purple was a little awkward. There was no real reason to want to come here, other than maybe Ray Lewis at that point. And where we are now, 2 decades later, but more than that with Lamar, I think we all knew some Superman was going to come along with these otherworldly speed, skill, see the field like a Brady or a Manning, throw the ball like an Elway, all of that. Cam Newton was going to be that guy. Michael Vick was going to be that guy, in the case of Lamar. But you could have Lamar. 31 other teams could have drafted Lamar. The notion that you're going to build around him, that you're going to sell that to your owner, you're going to sell that to your general manager, to your head coach, to Marshall Yonda and everybody else, hey, we're just going to run the ball and this is going to work, right? That it's never worked before. We're going to call it a revolution. And nobody's ever done this before, but we're going to be the pioneers here. And for the Ravens to go that direction and then build around this kid with tight ends and bringing defensive linemen like Pat Ricard to play tight end and finding the Willie Sneads and these guys that want to crack down and block as wide receivers in an era where everybody wants the ball 15 times a game. There's a shared part of this, but more than that, Ozzie and Eric, Harbaugh keeping this thing together, Bisciotti not firing Harbaugh last year at any other point, and as Jason Garrett's time ends in Dallas, right, where that was the direction Steve really wanted to go in 12, 13 years ago. There's really been something about the management of people here that makes Mark Ingram want to come here, that allows them to sign Damata Pekka at the end, to find L.J. Ford, to trade for Marcus Peters 7 weeks ago. I mean, it has been a clinic, I think, from how to run an organization the right way.
I totally agree. And I think that goes back to Mr. Modell and how he came in and he believed in people. And listen, people stumble along the way and make bad decisions, and you can't get rid of people for that. I think longevity and having people like Ozzie and Eric around for such a long time and believing in people and letting them know and saying, hey, listen, try new things. That's a big thing with me. Listen, if you're not failing, you're not succeeding. You have to fail. And I think that's a big thing for young kids out there. Listen, don't be afraid to fail. I mean, this generation is just so scared of, oh, my God, I don't want to make a mistake. If you're not making a mistake, you're not trying new things. You're not trying outside the box. Getting back to, John Harbaugh and the Ravens, I've always said, and everybody always says, is that history repeats itself. If you really look at the Ravens, what they're doing, they're an old school, run the ball, kick your ass, defense and offense. They're not doing anything, but just lining up and saying, listen, we're going to run the ball. They're going to point right where they're going to run the ball. They're going to tell you they're going to run the ball, and they pound it right in your face, and they say, stop us. And that's the attitude that you have to have. If you could run the ball in the National Football League, right? Everybody over the last 10 years, 15 years that I've been going and doing games, everybody wanted to reinvent the wheel. This is the new football. You got to sit back in the pocket and you have to throw the ball 60 times. Remember the Eagles? They wanted to we got to get 90 offensive plays in, and that's how you win. All these people who are trying to outsmart the game. You know how you win? You give somebody the ball and you tell them, listen, you got the heart. I want you to run this ball right down their throat, and you pound them. Because if you really look at it, the linebackers these days, they're not really the linebackers of 10 or 20 years ago. They're not the big speed stuff the ball.
Well, the rules have changed about the bullying part of it too, right? I mean, the toughness of the game and the you're not going to run and we're going to hurt you part of the game. That's changed a lot for the way the game's played from linebackers and from safeties too, right?
Well, the linebackers, if you look at them now, they're cover guys. They're strong. They're big, strong safeties. They're not middle linebackers. Like Ray was pretty much the last generation of the big stuff. I'm going to, run the ball, stop the run first. That mentality was gone. And now I think it's coming back. If you look at all the teams look at Kansas City. They'll pound you, right? The Eagles, they're going to go and run the ball. If you can run the ball in the National Football League, you can win. All you got to, because now all of a sudden the play action comes into play and all the other attributes that come with it. But you have to be able to go and run the ball and put your emphasis on a running back. And I like seeing those tight ends line up in the backfield. I mean, it's crazy. If you watched the game last night, with the kid from who played last
Seattle, San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco. That kid they got at tight end. I mean, he's a monster. I mean, he's the whole team. He wants to hit you. And then after he gets the ball, you can't get him down. I mean, that's old school football.
Well, Gronkowski represented that. I mean, we've seen that. We just haven't seen that on a team with a quarterback with 4.2 speed, right? Who sees the field like this. Tony Siragusa is here. All right, the last thing for you, Goose. Make the case for bringing your kids down to Miami in 4 weeks. Make the case that the Ravens are going to survive whatever Tennessee, Houston, Buffalo brings at them. And then there's the Mahomes thing, right? The Ravens have done everything but beat him. They lost to him last year. They lost to him this year. Those games are on the road. That game will be here. Obviously, the Chiefs have changed the momentum of this by winning Sunday and having Tom Brady lose. I mean, the tournament's very, very different when it goes through Kansas City than when it goes through New England for me in that second week.
Right.
I have a feeling we're going to see Pat Mahomes here, and that's sort of the one hill that the Ravens haven't climbed yet.
Yeah, I mean they're almost identical offenses. I think that they do a lot of the same things, a lot of the same mentality. You got two coaches that were on the coaching staff that know each other extremely well. I mean John, even though he was the special teams coach, I mean he learned a lot there in Philadelphia, and I think that they both can go and look and know what each other does offensively and defensively, and it's going to be fun if it gets to that. You don't want to go too far ahead because I've seen this happen where you're not looking at your next opponent, but just talking hypothetically here, I think that it's going to be a really strong matchup. Listen. Don't count Tom Brady out either. I mean, it's going to be. There's no guarantees here. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen.
I appreciate your reality, you look at this because we are all like sort of caught up in the purple glow, right? I mean, I'm going down to Miami, Goose. I'm picking bars. I got 200 hotel rooms. We got the buses all gassed. We're ready. I will be ready for a Ravens Super Bowl, and the only way you can be ready is to prepare, and the only way you can prepare is to be confident that what you're preparing for is going to happen, right?
Listen, if you're a Ravens fan and they do, hope to God they get down there to the Super Bowl. Listen, it's crazy, the numbers on these Super Bowl tickets. It really is. But just the experience you're going to get being in the area. I've been to every Super Bowl game, not at the game, the city, since 1990. I haven't missed.
I got pictures of you and me and Marino running around San Diego in '99. Literally, yeah.
And Tom Brady was asking us to get him in the bar because you couldn't get in. That was crazy, and you don't even remember that. But what was crazy, is the experience. Even if you go down there and you don't go to the game and you watch it in a local bar, you're going to have the best time ever. I mean, grab your kids. It's you never know when you're not going to be able to ever do it again.
Well, the other thing is it's not Minnesota, dude. It's Miami. The weather, there's going to be palm trees and sand,
it's not Detroit, right? It's not Detroit. It's not Minnesota. It's not, you're going to go down there. You're going to have a great time. I'm going to be in the Fort Lauderdale. I'll be all over Las Olas Boulevard. That's where I'm going to be.
All right, well, good, man.
Miami, I'm not a big Miami guy, so.
I'm going to hit you at Rocco's Tacos. You and me will go have a Tommy's Margarita together, all right?
There you go. That'd be perfect.
Goose, I love you, man. Thanks for making some time.
Thanks,
and, I guess we'll be together at some point in the next couple of weeks, right?
I'm sure we will.
You got it. Tony Siragusa, the Goose. Find him out on the interweb and his Facebook page and somewhere in Fort Lauderdale drinking purple drinks a couple of weeks from now. He didn't want to get all cocky and too overconfident because he played the game, but I'm allowed to get cocky and overconfident. I'm allowed to wear the purple beads and the purple lights and getting ready for all things 2020 and Festivus. Throw me an email if you're interested in going to Miami with us, nasty at WNST.net. The buyatoyota.com audio vault there 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world, including New Jersey, where my brothers of Smithereens just went into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. So hats off to Jimmy and Dennis and Mike and the late, great Pat Denizio. All my Jersey friends getting together. Springsteen might tour this year, too. Let's hear it for a Springsteen tour in 2020. Yeah. Nasty at WNST.net, the best way to find me. Baltimore Positive out as well. TJ Smith joining us at Fadley's on Friday for a crab cake and a chat about being the mayor of Baltimore, as well as we hear from Martin O'Malley later on in the month, and many, many other luminaries. 114 episodes deep now into Baltimore Positive. Make sure you're checking that out. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore. And even when my camera goes bad and the lights go out, we never stop talking Festivus madness here in Baltimore.